Now let's take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. In a startling revelation yesterday, the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, retired, confirmed that his life was targeted in the recently foiled alleged coup plot, explaining that he was supposed to be arrested and eventually eliminated if he resisted the plan by the coup plotters to apprehend him. The erstwhile Chief of Defense Staff, CDS, described the alleged plotters as unserious individuals, but warned that the threat was real enough to trigger swift action, with several suspects now arrested and others actively being pursued internationally by the Interpol. The attempted coup d'etat, which has dominated headlines, recently involved a plot by a network of military officers, security personnel and civilians to violently overthrow President Bola Tinubu's government. Over a dozen serving military officers are currently in custody for the planned illegal takeover of the government, while a number of civilians remain on the run. Musa argued that something must have seriously gone wrong with the officers to think of forcefully taking over the government, arguing that even if they were not caught, they would have been staunchly resisted by Nigerians. In more news, troops of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai have recorded another major breakthrough in the fight against terrorism, with the elimination of a senior Boko Haram commander and 10 other fighters during a decisive night operation in Borno State. Arise correspondent Ihotu Odo reports.
The recent operation led to the neutralization of Abu Khalid, identified as the second-in-command of Boko Haram in the Sambisa forest and a key figure responsible for coordinating terrorist operations and logistics within the axis. According to a statement by the Media Information Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, this success comes less than 24 hours after troops eliminated another notorious Boko Haram and ISWAP commander, Julabib, in the Gujba axis of the Tumbutu Triangle. Acting on credible intelligence, troops of Sector 1, working alongside members of the Civilian Joint Task Force under Operation Desert Sanity, engaged terrorists at the Komala General Area of Kunduga Local Government Area at about 11 p.m. Following the encounter, troops recovered 5 AK-47 rifles, loaded magazines, several bicycles, assorted logistics and food supplies, as well as a large cache of medical items. No casualties were recorded among the troops. Military authorities say morale remains high as clearance operations continue across the Sambisa forest, Mandara Mountains, Tumbutu Triangle, and other known terrorist hideouts in the northeast. Ihotu Odo, Arise News.
Still on security updates, at least 80 worshippers, initially thought to be among the 166 abducted during the church service at Kurmin Wali in Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State, have reunited with their families. The village head of Kurmin Wali, Ishaku Danazumi, disclosed that 177 worshippers were kidnapped during the attack, with 11 initially believed to have escaped. He explained that further findings revealed that about 80 worshippers had fled for safety amid the chaos and sought refuge in nearby communities. They have since been located and reunited with their families. However, the village head confirmed that 86 worshippers are still being held in captivity by the bandits as anxiety continues to mount over their fate. Meanwhile, the Kaduna State Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Mansur Hassan, said police have profiled the victims and safely reunited them with their families. Right, it's a security update morning. Rufai, Dr. Bati.
I'm sorry, what does the police mean by they profile the victims and return them? Did they rescue them? No, the report does not say so.
The report doesn't say. They didn't
and they didn't do anything all this while. I mean, why should I even trust that the police, what they've said? They said they've profiled them when it was the same police that came out to first say, that nothing transpired based on the lies that the local government chairman said the people should lie in the area. That they should not say anything about their kidnapping in the first place, and the police had to reinstate his statement. So I'm sorry, why are the police releasing the statement? You didn't do anything to release them. You are saying you've profiled them. Which profile? Which profile? Is it not the same villagers that released the name of the people kidnapped that even make us know them in the first place? So did you ensure that the list was released in the first place? So what profile? You see, we lie too much to ourselves in this country. And that's why the country is not moving forward. We have jarring levels of insecurity because we lie to ourselves. You're not saying you're profile them. Who wrote the list of the villagers in the first place? It is the villagers that even made us know. Left for the police, nothing happened. Then you have the temerity to say you profiled them. You've not gone into the bush, you've not brought... Oh, yeah, go and rescue the 86 remaining now. If you want to do your work. Nothing done since then. The local government chairman that came, that told the villagers, don't say anything has happened. That even was trying to prevent some NGOs for coming in there. Nothing has been done to the local government chairman. He's not apologized, he's not done anything. And the police are asking you, what did you profile? Please, let's stop deceiving us. That's why insecurity is so rampant. So 86 people are still missing. How are we going to get them out?
That's the key question.
And the day when I was saying there's no security here, I think people thought I was just talking and miss like I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm saying. Is it not obvious now that the police cannot work at bringing people back home? People finally escaped, and you are saying to us that you profile them. You are taking notes, profile. How about you going to the bush and ensure they are rescued? How about you say, okay, we've tracked the hideout, we've planned an operation, we'll rescue them, and I will come and I will raise my hand and thump my fist in the air and say, I celebrate. I want to celebrate our troops when they do well. Just like when our troops did well in the second story you brought.
Yes, Sambisa Forest. So
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
I praise our troops for that. That's what we want to hear. That is reassuring. But not when the police say you profile them. The ones in Niger that was kidnapped at the start of the year, have they brought them back home?
Yeah, oh, not the ones in December from the church. Okay.
The ones in Niger, have they brought them back home at the start of the year? That they said, you know, Niger is in two folds.
Yeah.
The Papiri kids are also part of them.
Yeah, those
Do you know some Papiri kids that were brought back were also re-kidnapped in the Niger market incident? So today, we don't even know a profile for all the people that are in the bush that have been kidnapped as a result of this insecurity as we speak in the country today. And the police is saying we profile them, we profile. We need to do something. Section 40 talks about the state having, protecting us. They should have the monopoly of violence. We should not be hearing all of this.
All right, Dr. Abati.
Okay, very quickly. Let me start with the Minister of Defense. That's General Christopher Musa, retired. He was saying on television that he was targeted for elimination by those who planned to have a coup in Nigeria in October. And, initially, the military authorities denied that there was any attempt at a coup in Nigeria. But now they came back in the month of January to say that, oh, indeed, there was an attempt. 42 persons were arrested. 16 persons, are now likely to be arraigned. Now, Nigerians are a bit dismayed that the authorities will first of all deny and then later confirm, which will point to perhaps gaps or perhaps, an attempt at due diligence before proclamation. And it should be saddening for many Nigerians that we're even talking about the possibility of a coup attempt in Nigeria. Now, when you hear, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, the countries within the Sahel region having coups, you will say, well, no, it cannot happen here. One of the, delusions that would seem to have been, deflected, eliminated, extinguished, is this assumption that it cannot happen here. We have seen many things happening in Nigeria since the return to civilian democratic rule in 1999 that continues, that will continue to confound us. So that regional crisis is important. And that's why there is need for due vigilance on the part of the Nigerian authorities. It was not only the Chief of Defense Staff whose name has showed up in the literature, the president, the vice president, the Senate president, prominent government officials were supposedly to be wiped out. However, now that the authorities have established that there was a coup and persons have been detained and vehicles have been seized, resources that were meant to be mobilized have been trapped, the question now is about jurisdiction. The military is treating it as a matter of discipline within the framework of the Armed Forces Act. Now, concerned legal practitioners are saying, no, we're in a democratic dispensation. The issue about treason or treasonable felony is an assignment for the Federal High Court, and that the matter should be treated in the Civilian High Court. I spoke yesterday on This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, which I anchor, and Femi Falana SAN was saying he believes, he is optimistic that the matter will be brought to the Civilian Court. I raised the caveat that things tend to go very slow in the Civilian courts. And he said, no, if government wants to treat a matter expeditiously, they have enough resources and they can summon the will to treat the matter expeditiously. However, what is important is that whether a person is planning a coup or not, or alleged to have been involved, they are still entitled to fair hearing under the Constitution of Nigeria. There are civilian persons that were told are at large. And of course, General Musa made it clear that those persons, wherever they are, anywhere in the world, they will be tracked down. I think the mood in this country is that nobody wants a coup.
Yes.
We don't want a disruption of the constitutional order.
Yes.
And the military had consistently told us that they are committed to civilian democracy. And it's important that the new boys that are in the saddle, well, they don't want to be called boys. I say that generically. Okay, the new men that are in the saddle have a responsibility to protect this civilian dispensation. That's that about that. Now, Operation Adinkai says, okay, in Borno State, we have decimated, the Joint Task Force has achieved some things. Well, anytime that the military does well, or any of the operations, we praise them, the gallantry of our soldiers, and that's why I say we cannot just conclude that there's no security in Nigeria. What we have in Nigeria, we have challenges. And with regard to terrorism, it's of an asymmetrical nature. It's not conventional warfare. But Nigerians will expect that a day will come when we have a better strategy to be able to deal with this problem, not in an ad hoc episodic manner, but that Nigerians can feel safe in their homes and sleep with both eyes closed. And then, of course, the worshippers in Kajuru, 177 of them who were abducted January 18. Now, 86 of them still remain in captivity. We have seen this kind of pattern either in Niger State, we are now seeing it in the case of the people of Kajuru. Now, for heaven's sake, we just want to hear that these kidnappers, they are the ones being arrested, and that they will be brought to book. In all the cases of release, for propaganda reasons, they will say, oh, some people have been released, they have secured their freedom, even when, in some of the examples that we have had, those people escaped either on their own or through community efforts. Those details are never put out there. What is put out there is propaganda. And we just say, to show that government is working hard and that the troops are actually efficient, we need to see a situation whereby the victims are the ones that are not paraded. It is the criminals that are paraded. And for us to come and discuss how so number of criminals have been apprehended and punished.
Absolutely. And that's why this morning we salute the efforts of our troops in going into Sambisa Forest and actually eliminating one of the top Boko Haram chiefs. And that is the kind of news that we want to open on Monday morning like. A news like that to assure and keep on reassuring Nigerians that this administration, this government is on top of things security-wise. And in recent times, we've had our share of, in terms of as a nation, of insecurity upsets. I say this with regards to kidnappings, such that we are now even trying, okay, which of the Niger kidnappings is this? The first, the second, the third? Which of them have been released? Are we, we're trying to tally up numbers. That should not be the case. And so whilst we salute on one hand, the encouragement is to not just have, the worshippers return, but what we want to hear and more arrests. And when we talk about arrests, we want to see arrests linked to kidnappings, because it's a sure way to ensure that that industry, as it's beginning to be to seem, does not thrive. That we kill that industry in its infancy. We must deal decisively with insecurity, particularly kidnapping in the northwest, in the northeast area, in some areas, and now in some parts, the north central, the north as a whole. Very important. So whilst we salute on one hand, on the other hand is that these worshippers deserve to come back, but we hope that they won't come back as being, or they escaped, or we negotiate, or there was a deal or something. We want to see more arrests so that there's a guarantee that the kidnappers will not do the same thing. Now, going back to the Minister of Defence's account of what could have transpired if the coup had succeeded, he gave his own side of the matter, and this is based off on the fact that now we have information, concrete confirmation that there was a coup attempt. In fact, there are different newspaper reports around what transpired. The Punch newspaper had a report based on what they had cited as a report and what happened and what could have eventually happened. A number of key figures were highlighted as being targets, but very importantly is what was behind the reason for the attempted coup. In some parts of West Africa, what has been said is, because of the kind of government and democracy that's run there, the fact that people do not feel the dividends of democracy, the fact that people are feeling disgruntled, and even in some countries, you saw how people were rejoicing after a coup d'etat, but that's not the case in Nigeria. In fact, in this particular instance, what happened was a few officers who were discontent. Part of their discontent were personal grievances, and they used and were leveraging on some of the issues around, challenges in the government to leverage their personal grievances to stage a coup d'etat. Thankfully, intelligence was received and they were all apprehended. A few, civilians, as we mentioned earlier, are on the run. One of the things we would say is, number one is when it comes to grievances and working with the military, it's important that there is a cohesion, there's synergy, they work in sync with the civilian government. We have said it again and again that if we forget the days of the military era, maybe we need to do a history lesson and talk about it again and again so people can remember just how bad those days were, and that no matter how things are today on a democratic government, it still is better than the military taking over. We can see it in the other African countries whereby the military said we were coming to present a new government and they're doing exactly the same things that they said we were fighting against. So what can we do going forward? Can we strengthen our institutions? Can we get democracy right in Nigeria? Can we ensure that everyone has, gets the dividends of the democratic government that we are, definitely in support of, not a rogue regime, not a rogue military takeover, but that we finally fix our issues.